Hello everyone. So today we will start with the next unit, that is my capital and revenue expenditures and receipts. So first of all, let us understand how many types of them are there. Okay. So whenever I say capital, we have two types in that. So first of all, we have expenditure, teacher, and we also have receipts. Don't worry, I will tell you what is what. Then we have revenue. In revenue also we have two types. That is again expenditure and we have receipts. What do you mean by expenditure? Whenever I am giving out something in cash or through a asset, there is something goes out of the business. That is my expenditure. Whereas, what do you mean by receipt? Whatever I am receiving, whatever it can be, depending on case to case basis. If I am receiving something, that is called as what? Receipt. In simple term. Simple till here. Okay, going ahead. So now comes the question: what is the capital expenditure? What is the revenue expenditure? So have a look at this one. So I have summarized the whole chapter to really small chunks because this whole chapter might be worth only 4 marks. Might be worth only 4 marks. Where will this question comes up? In your first topic, that is in your true or false. They will give you a sentence saying that whether this is true or false. You should mention true or false and give the reasons for your answer. That's it. 2 marks question. Clear? So let's look at this. So what do you mean by capital expenditure? Expenses incurred to acquire or improve fixed assets or to increase the earning capacity of the business. It is giving a long term benefit. So if you are expensing anything to acquire or improve a fixed asset, so let us look at some examples. First of all, examples. So in examples we have purchase of a machinery or building. So let's take this for now. So whenever I purchase a machinery, what do I pay? I pay through cash. That means I am paying out something. I am incurring an expense. But for what is this expense being incurred? To acquire or improve a fixed asset. To In this case, it is a acquisition of a fixed asset. I am buying a fixed asset, right? What do you mean by fixed asset? Anything that you buy, has a long term benefit and is not a recurring expense. What do you mean by recurring expense or a non recurring expense? Recurring means ಪದೇ ಪದೇ expense ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? Clear? So what do you mean by non recurring? You are not paying the expense again and again in a single financial year. Do I buy buildings recurringly in the one financial year? No. No, I might buy it 1 year, then after 3 years, so and so on, depending on the expansion of the business, right? Because of that, it is called as what? A non-recurring expense. So, it is giving me a long-term benefit. Now, what do I mean by long-term benefit? Any benefit which lasts for more than one financial year. For one financial year. So, today if I buy a building, will the building be demolished within 1 year? Have you seen that anywhere? No. That means I can earn a benefit of more than one financial year. Right? So two conditions. Always remember, for bifurcating the expenses between capital and revenue, two things. One, there should be a long-term benefit. Long-term benefit. Then case number 2, recurring or non-recurring. Right? So while discussing the questions, I will use these two methods to teach you on how to bifurcate them. Clear? Let's see. Then it is not shown in the P&L account, but it is shown in the balance sheet as an asset. So whenever you make any capital expenditure, that will be taken as a balance sheet item or a asset in the balance sheet. Clear? It will not be shown in the P&L account. Right? So we will write over here, whatever capital expenditure we make, it will be taken to what? To the, sorry, not to the P&L account, but to the balance sheet. Clear? As what? As asset. Then what? Then it gives a long-term benefit. This is case number 1. This is case number 2. Okay. Then after this, so examples. So have a look at the examples. So first of all, purchase of a machinery or a building. Then we have cost of upgrading an equipment. So we had equipment. I am making so much of expenditure on that its usage will increase. So example, I have a machinery which has a useful life of, let's say, 5 years. So in third year, what do? I incur so much of expense that, see, on third year, what was the useful life remaining? 2 years, 2 years. Okay. Now, because of the expenses I have made of so big amount, the usage life has increased to 5 more years. 5 years more I can use it. From 2 remaining years, I can use it for more than 2 years. That is for 5 years. That means I am earning a long-term benefit out of that expense I have made. That expense I have made, right? So because of that, this expense will be added. This expense will be added to the cost of the asset. Remember the words I am telling you. It will be added to the cost of the asset. That means if the asset was bought for, let's say, 20 lakh rupees, and I am making an expenditure of rupees, let's say 2 lakh, which is increasing the value of the useful life of the asset. So my total value of asset as per my books of accounts will be rupees 22 lakhs and not rupees 20 lakhs. Why? Because this expend is what? This expense is what? This is a capital expenditure. This is a capital expenditure. This is increasing the value of my asset and giving me a long term benefit. Can I do this expense again and again? Can I do this expense again and again? No, sir, I cannot do it again and again. Because of that, it will be a non-recurring expense. It will be a non-recurring expense. So I can say that whatever capital expenditure I make, it is a non-recurring item. Non-recurring item. Clear? I won't be making the expense again and again during the same financial year. Clear? Okay. Then again, next, legal fees on acquiring a land. So always remember this: any cost, any expenses I pay for acquisition, transportation, erection, or any other etc. items, like whichever is incurred to bring the asset and make it useful for the entity. All of these expenses will be added to the cost of the asset. What do I mean by adding to the cost of the asset? Just like how I did over here. This was the cost of the asset. I have added those expenses to this cost to increase the value of my fixed asset. To increase the value of a fixed asset. So any legal expenses you pay for acquiring in land. See, first of all, land is what? Land is a fixed asset. I am not going to buy land again and again in the same financial year. So it will be a non-recurring expense. And once I buy the land, it will give me a long-term benefit. So that means whatever expenses I am incurring on purchasing the land is a capital expenditure. Is a capital expenditure. So because of that, and to acquire that land, I am paying some legal fees, stamp duty, lawyer fees, whatever it might be. Okay, to prepare the documentation, the government documentation. So these legal expenses were incurred. Why? To acquire the land. So because of that reason, see, if I do not pay the legal fees, can I buy the land? No, it is not possible. So that means legal fees becomes an important part on buying the land, right? So because of that, I will add the value of the legal fees to the cost of the asset to increase the value of the asset. Okay, this is called as capitalization of the cost. Capitalization of the cost. So whenever I say capitalization, that means I am going to add whatever expenses I have incurred to acquire asset. ಅಸೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇನ್ಕರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇನ್ಕರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ that will become the part of the asset. Clear? Okay. Then again, installation charges of the fixed asset. So I have bought asset without installing it, like putting it to the land or putting it to the power circuit, whatever it might be. Without doing that, can I use the asset? No. So that means installation cost becomes an important cost on making the asset usable. So because of that reason, again, this installation cost will be added to the value of the total asset. Done. Next we have revenue expenditure. So we saw what is the capital expenditure. Now what is the revenue expenditure? It is a day-to-day expense for running the business operation. When I say day-to-day, what do you mean? It is a recurring expense. That means I am making the expense again and again. Example, sir: salaries, rent, electricity. So when do I pay salaries? On a monthly basis. Have you seen anywhere that the salary is paid on a yearly basis? No, never. Salary is always paid on a monthly basis. Then rent, electricity, everything is paid on a monthly basis. So that means these are recurring expenses. That means I am going to pay it again and again. I am going to pay it again and again on a monthly basis. That means in a single year I will pay it around 12 times. I will pay it around 12 times. That means it is a recurring expense. I am paying it again and again. it gives a short-term benefit within the same accounting period. So tell me this, if I pay rent for 1 month, if I pay rent for 1 month, for how many months can I use the space? For how many months can I use the space? For 1 month only, sir. Can I use it for 2 months? No. The landlord will kick me away. Kick me away, right? Why? Because I'm paying rent for 1 month and using it for 2 months. Will the landlord keep quiet? No. So that means the benefit will be short term. And what do you mean by short term? It should be within one accounting year. It should be within one accounting year. Clear? Okay. Then it is shown in P&L account as expense. Clear? So capital expenditure are shown as a balance sheet item, whereas revenue expenditure are taken to what? To the P&L account. So that means if I can write, so revenue expenditure I can write as a short term benefit, as a short term benefit, then it is a recurring expense. It is a recurring expense, and it is taken to what? Taken to P&L account. It is taken to P&L account. Done? Yes. Next. So some examples. Examples, sir. So I told you salary, rent, and electricity. Then repairs and maintenance. Normal. See, if you have a bike, if you have a bike, you need to give it to service, right? Yearly twice or thrice you will give it to service. Brake loose agide, oil change ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉಂಟು, tire change ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉಂಟು. So there are some reasons which you might give it for repairs or maintenance, right? So this will be a recurring expense, and it will give you a short term benefit. See, whatever brake lever you have, or let's say oil, best. See, whatever oil you change, will it give you a benefit of more than 1 year? No. Generally, it is recommended to change the oil for 6 months, right? So that means only for 6 months it will be valid. Again, after 6 months you need to change your oil, right? So because of that, it will be a recurring expense, and it will give you a short term benefit. So whatever repairs and maintenance you incur will be a revenue expenditure. Then insurance premium, whatever insurance premium you pay, it will be for only 1 year accounting year. Then for next accounting year, again you have to pay the expense. That means again it is giving you a benefit of short term. Then depreciation on asset. So whatever depreciation you charge, it will be for only 1 year, right? Again for the next financial year you will charge it for the asset. So all these expenses are taken to what? To my P&L account. P&L account. See, one more thing you remember, whatever I am teaching over here, this won't be beneficial only for this chapter, but for remaining journal entry, for ledgers, or whatever chapters I am going to teach here onwards, for all the chapters, this chapter is really important. So whenever I say capital expenditure, it should quickly come into your mind that capital expenditure, that it is a non-recurring expense, I will get a long-term benefit, and so on. Clear? And it will be added to the cost of the asset. All these things should come into your mind, okay, for the next remaining chapters. So please be really careful with this chapter. Please do not think of skipping this chapter. Clear? Next, we have capital receipt. Capital expenditure now comes to a case of receipts. So meaning income or inflow that is not regular to the business operations, often related to finance or asset sales. So it can be financing. Example of financing: capital introduced by the owner. Whatever capital introduced, it is a financing activity, right? So business will get some cash to run. Then we have loan received. Whatever I go to the bank, will I take loan on a recurring basis? Will I take loan on a recurring basis? Never ever, right? Then sale of assets. So whatever sale proceeds from the fixed assets. So I have bought a building. Let's say after 5 years, 6 years, I might think of selling it. So will I sell the building again and again in the same financial year? Building to sell money. Will I do that? No. Only if I am closing the business, I will. I agree. But if in a normal operations, if you see, will I sell the building again and again? No. So that means this is a non-recurring in nature. This is non-recurring in nature. Whatever financing activities or sale of assets. So when I sell the asset, what do I receive? I receive cash. I receive from the in the money in the bank account, right? So this is a receipt. Then again, financing activity. I receive capital. I receive loan. So this is also a receipt. Government subsidy for fixed assets. So if government is paying me any subsidy, government won't pay you subsidy on a yearly basis. It will pay you once for any of the fixed assets, whatever activity it might be. Clear? Okay. Then, so now, if I have to classify this, and also, it is not shown in the P&L account, but it appears in the balance sheet. Where does capital come up? In the balance sheet, where will capital come up? In the liability side. Then loan, whatever loan I take, where will this loan come up? It is a receipt. Will I show it as income in the P&L account? No, never, 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 never. I will show it as a balance sheet item. I will show it as a balance sheet item. What? On the liability side. So I can say that in capital receipts, it is again taken to balance sheet. Then it is a non-recurring item again. Non-recurring item. And I can again say that it gives me a long-term benefit. Why? Because once if I take the loan, tomorrow only will I repay it. If I take a loan today, tomorrow only I will repay it. No, never. I will repay it, let's say, after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, after 5 years, whatever the terms might be. But I will not repay it within 1 year. That means I can take the benefit of the loan for a long-term basis. Capital, whatever is invested into the business, will the capital be withdrawn tomorrow only? No, it will be in the business till the business comes to an end, right? That's why we call it as capital. We call it as capital, right? So it will again give me a long-term benefit. Done? Next. Okay, the last one, revenue receipt. So meaning income received from the day-to-day business operations. Example, sales revenue. Will I do the sales only once? No. The sales is a recurring activity. It is a recurring activity, right? It recurs. On a daily basis I go on doing sales, because sales is the main revenue which I am earning in the business. If I do only one sales in a financial year, will my business survive? No, obviously not. So because of that, sales becomes what? It's a day-to-day business activity and it's a recurring in nature. Then we have interest received from the bank account. If I keep some fixed deposits, bank will pay me interest, right? Of this interest, will the benefit last for more than 1 year? No, it will last for only 1 year. Then commission income, whatever commission income I am earning, it will also last for only 1 year, and it is also a recurring activity. Then rent received from business property, just like how I pay rent, I will receive rent on a regular basis. Let's say monthly rent, quarterly rent. Yes, so it is also a recurring in nature, and it is shown as a in P&L account. It is shown as a income. Done. Yes. So now if I have to write over here, so revenue receipt is what? It is a recurring receipt. Then it is taken to what? Again P&L account as a income. Then it is the benefit will be for short term. Yes, whatever sales I make, will the person pay me on a long term basis if I make a sales once? No, never. For the sales I have made today, he will pay me tomorrow, for example. So the payment is done. Now I and he don't have any relationship. I have made the sales, he has made the payment. Done and dusted. Yes? Okay. Short term benefit. So now let's look at some questions over here. Illustration 1 from your example. State with reasons whether the following statements are true or false. Overhaul expenses of a second-hand machinery purchased as a revenue expenditure. So first of all, let us understand what do you mean by overhaul expenses. See, overhauling means you are incurring a major amount on a fixed asset to improve its lifetime. So whenever I say a major expense to improve its lifetime, what comes to mind? Capital expenditure. So that means whatever overhauling expense you incur will be a capital expenditure. But as per the question, this expense has been incurred on what? On a second hand machinery. Dear students, remember this. Even if the overhauling expense has been incurred on a second hand machinery, it will always be a capital expenditure. So whatever statement is given over here is false. Then money spent to reduce the working expense is a revenue expenditure. Now tell me this. What is this? So let's take some example. Cost of producing a mobile is rupees 30,000. Okay. Now my sales price is example rupees 50,000. So how much is the profit that I am earning over here? What is the profit that I am earning over here? Rupees 20,000 is the profit I am earning. Yes, this is the profit I am earning. Now I as a management think that I need to increase the profit. I need to increase the profit. So what are the ways in which I can increase the profit? First, I can increase the sale price to rupees 60,000. My profit will increase by rupees 30,000. But if I increase the value of sales, what will happen? In mobile phone market, there is so much competition. So tomorrow, if I increase the value of my sales, what will happen? People will buy different phones. They will not buy my phone. Why? It is costly now. It is costly now. So what is the next option? What is the next best option? To reduce the cost. If I reduce the cost, my profit will increase. Keeping the sales price same, keeping the sales price as it is, if I reduce the value of my cost, what will happen? My profit will increase. That means if I reduce the cost of production, my profit will increase. Right? Now, how will I reduce the cost of production? See, a mobile phone is made of different components. It goes through a long process, right, of assembly, then testing and all. So if I reduce any of the process cost, what will happen? My total overall cost will also reduce. Because of that, my profit will increase. Yes, yes. Okay. That means money spent to reduce the working expense is what? Money spent to reduce working expense is a capital expenditure. Why, sir? See, first of all, two criteria to look at. Two criteria to look at. First of all, is it a recurring expense? Is it a recurring expense? Answer yes or no. Second case, is it giving me a long term benefit? Benefit, yes or no? Okay, let's change this. Let's make this non-recurring. Is it a non-recurring expense? Expense, yes or no? If both of them are yes, both of them are yes, it will be a capital expenditure or capital basis. Clear? But if anyone is no, if any one of them is no, it will go to my revenue category. It will go to my revenue category. Remember this. Okay, this is a shortcut I am teaching you people. If both of them are yes, it is a capital item. But if anyone is no, in that case it will be a what? It will be a revenue item. So in my case, let us say, first of all, the question is it a non-recurring expense? Is it a non-recurring expense? See, tell me this, if I am incurring expenses to reduce the process cost, can I make this cost zero? Can I make the cost zero? Is my question. Never. Because to manufacture a phone, I need some components. Can I make that cost zero? Are you idiot? No, right? I cannot make it zero. So because of that, how much ever expenses I make, let us say first time I did. Okay, first time I did. Now my new cost is rupees 20,000. My profit increased to rupees 30,000 because of the reduction in the cost. Can I do it again to make it 10,000? Can I make it again to make it zero? No. There is a limit. There is a limit up to which I can go down. Okay. After that, I cannot go down more. The cost cannot be reduced more. This will be taught to you in the economics. In economics, you will understand the cost of production. There is a limit to which the cost can be reduced. I cannot go below this. Why? Because there is some manufacturing cost also incurred, right? That has to be incurred. Without that cost, I cannot manufacture a phone. So because of that, there will be a limit. So if I go on putting the cost to reduce my working expenses, if I go on putting the expenses, that will be waste of money. That will be waste of money. So it will be a recurring. No, it will be a non-recurring expense. So my answer will be yes. It is a non-recurring expense. So I will incur this expense once in a year to reduce my cost. To reduce my cost. Right. Next, long-term benefit. So now tell me, if I reduce the cost to 20,000 rupees, my profit will increase to rupees 30,000. So is this profit giving me a long-term benefit? Is this profit giving me a long-term benefit? Yes, that means whatever expenses I have incurred to reduce the cost is giving me a long-term benefit, right? So because of that, this will also be a yes. So now what is this? What is this expenditure will be? This will be a capital expenditure. So the answer over here is false. This will be a capital expenditure because it will increase the profit base in the future days. Done. Next. Legal fees to acquire property. So as I told you before, whatever expenses you incur to acquire any fixed asset, because property is a fixed asset, so any fixed asset will be a capital expenditure. So this is true. I have explained it to you before. Next. amount spent as a lawyer fees to defend a suit claiming that the factory site belonged to the plaintiff. Okay, what do you mean by plaintiff? The person who puts the case on you. So in this case, what has happened? See, we had a property, we had a factory site, we had a factory site. Okay, now someone is coming tomorrow and putting a case on me saying that that factory belongs to him, that factory land belongs to him. Now I have hired a lawyer and paid him some fees. Is this the cost to acquire the land? No, sir, it's not a cost to acquire the land. This is what? This is a expense incurred to maintain the land with me. See, tomorrow if I lose the case, I don't pay, let us assume I don't pay the legal fees. I lose the case because I don't have a lawyer. What will happen with the land? The land will be given to the other person who has put a case on me, right? But if I tomorrow lose the land, it will be a loss for me because I have paid for the land, right? If tomorrow if I lose the land, will it be good for the business? Obviously no. Obviously no. So that means I am paying this legal fees to maintain the land with me. To maintain the land with me. I am not acquiring the land. I have the land. On that land, someone is putting a case now. After 3 years, 4 years, saying that it is that land belongs to him. But now tell me, is the expense incurred to acquire the asset or to maintain the asset with me? It is incurred to maintain the asset with me, so it will be a maintenance expense. Let us say I win the case. Let us say I win the case. Let us say I win the case. Tomorrow someone else comes and puts a case on me again. Puts a case on me again, saying that land belongs to the second person. Tomorrow again, what should I do? I should again incur the legal fees. So it is a recurring expense. Will it give me a long term benefit? No. Tomorrow someone else might come because of this legal fees. See, whatever legal fees I have paid, will the lawyer work for me for 10 years for this legal fees paid? No. Only for that case he will work for me. Tomorrow, if the second person comes and puts a case on me, again I have to pay the new legal fees. That means it's a recurring expense which is giving me a short term benefit, which is giving me a short term benefit. So because of that, it will be what? It will be a revenue expenditure. So as per the question, it is a capital expenditure which is false. Which is false. Next. Amount spent for replacement of a worn out part of a machine is a capital expenditure. Now, you have a bike. Okay, whatever the bike is there, on that the brake lever is loose, so you change the brake lever. Tell me, will you get the benefit for a long term? No. Why? Because after riding more and more, whatever the brake lever is there, it might corrode or it might be destroyed because of some XYZ reasons. So again you might have to change it. So it is a not giving you a long term benefit. Then it is a recurring expense because the next time you change it, again it will be worn out. Right? Your disc pads, whatever the disc brake you have, that has some pads inside it, right? So that brake pad will also get corroded as you brake again and again. So you might have to change it again. So it might not give you the benefit of more than 1 year sometimes. So because of that, this will be a revenue expenditure. So the answer is false again. Next. Expenses incurred on repairs and whitewashing for the first time on the purchase of an old building is a revenue expenditure. So I have told you, whenever you incur any expenditure on a fixed asset for the first time, it will be what? It will be capital expenditure. Remember legal fees I have told you? Example. Okay. So expenses you have incurred for repairing and whitewashing for the first time on a purchase of an old building. Even though it is an old building, whenever you buy it, it will be a new building for you people. Right? It will be a new building for you. So because of that, this will be treated as what? It will be treated as a capital expenditure. So again, this will be what? This is a false statement. Then expenses in connection with obtaining a license for running a cinema is a capital expenditure. So now, first of all, without license, can you run the cinema hall? Without license, can you run the cinema? No, you cannot run it. So that means this license is really important for your business. And once you buy it, once you buy the license, this will be giving you a long-term benefit to run the cinema. One thing. Will it be recurring? Will you buy the license again and again each year? No, once you buy it, it's done. So this will be a revenue item. So this statement is true. Next. Amount spent for construction of temporary huts, which is necessary for construction of cinema house and were demolished when the cinema house was ready. So over here, tell me this, without the construction of temporary huts, can you build a new cinema house? because as per the question it is very necessary, right? So that means it's a pre-operative, or before opening a cinema house, this expense has to be incurred to open the cinema house. That means the expenses linked with the cinema house, because cinema house to build you need some temporary huts to be built, right? So that means it becomes a really important expense incurred for building a cinema house. Now tell me, cinema house, whatever expenses you incur on cinema house, okay, not on amount spent on this, I'm not talking about this part, I am not talking about this part, but I'm telling you, whatever cinema house you build, will it be a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure? It is a fixed asset, sir. Because of that, it will be a capital expenditure, right? So that means whatever expenses you have incurred to build that temporary huts, which is required to build the cinema house, becomes a capital expenditure. So whatever the statement is given is a true statement. Then this is how you need to think. So this is how you need to think to figure out whether it's a capital expenditure or a revenue expenditure. Then okay, let's move on to the next question. Illustration number 4 from your study material. State with reasons whether the below items relating to the business of AB Limited are capital or revenue receipts. Okay. Now this time receipts they are talking about. A machine with a book value rupees 10 lakhs is sold for rupees 12 lakhs. So machine is what? Machine is what? Machine is a capital item. Machine is a capital item taken to the balance sheet. Remember? So now you have sold this machinery for rupees 12 lakhs, and you have received the money when you sell the machinery. So that means this receipt will be a capital receipt. This will be a capital receipt. On the sale of a capital item, you will always receive a capital receipt only. Remember, it's clear, because you are not going to sell the machinery on a long-term basis. You are not selling the machinery on a long-term basis. Remember? Okay. Then premium amounted to rupees 1 lakh rupees received on the issue of shares. So if you don't know this, I will tell you. Whatever premium you receive will be taken as securities premium, and it will be taken to the share capital. Fine. So don't worry about this particular part, because this will be dealt in the company's account. So there you will have clarity. So once the clarity is received over there, you will only directly tell me that this is a capital expenditure. Capital receipt. Fine. The logics are taught in the company's account, so please keep this on hold for now, and it will be clearly dealt in the company's account part. So you will only come to know that why it is a capital expenditure. Sorry, a capital receipt. Fine. Next. An amount of rupees 20,000 received for goods sold in cash. So here you are selling what? Goods, which is your day-to-day business operation. So again, this will be taken as what? Revenue receipt. Then next. An amount of rupees 5 lakh received on maturity of fixed deposits from the bank. Also, an interest of rupees 40,000 was received in addition to the maturity amount. So there are two components over here. We have maturity amount, and you have interest. See, whatever interest you receive is a recurring item, and it's a short-term benefit. So this will be what? This will be revenue receipt always, and it will be taken to the P&L account. Then coming to the maturity amount. Okay, whatever the amount you received, it is a capital receipt. Why is a capital receipt? Because see, whatever deposits you have is a fixed asset. Why? Because you will keep it in bank for a long-term basis to earn some interest, right? It's the investments, and investments are always categorized as asset. And now you are giving off the asset, and you are selling the asset, and you are receiving the money. So because of that reason, this will be taken as what? This will be taken as capital receipt. Done? Fine. Next. Classify the expenditure and receipts as capital and revenue. Okay. So now it is a mixture of both of them. Capital and revenue, expenditure or receipt. Rupees 10,000 spent as a travelling expenses of the directors on a trip abroad for the purchase of capital asset. So again, this expense has been incurred travelling of a directors to acquire what? To acquire or purchase a capital asset. So this will again be what? Preliminary expense to buy an asset. So because of that, it will be taken as a what? Capital expenditure. Then next, amount received from trade receivables during the year. What is trade receivables? Your debtors, right? You have sold them some goods, they have not made the payment, They have told you they will pay the payment after 2 months, after 3 months and so on. So because of that, it will be a recurring receipt, because there won't be any one person who has done this, right? In a business, there will be so many debtors. So because of that reason, this will be what? Revenue receipt. Next, amount spent on demolition of building to construct a bigger building on the same site. Now, a tricky part. You are demolishing a building to build a new building. So whatever new building you are building over here, will this be a capital asset or no? This will be a capital asset. You will take it to the balance sheet, right? Because it's a capital expenditure. Now tell me, can you build a bigger building without demolishing the old building? Can you do it? No sir, you cannot do it. Because of that reason, the amount spent on demolition will also be a capital expenditure, because this is required to build a bigger building. That means it is an ancillary expense that you are incurring to build a new building. Clear? So it becomes a capital expenditure. Then, insurance claim received on account of machinery damaged by fire. Why are you receiving the insurance claim? What is the reason? Because a machinery which was a fixed asset, it is being destroyed by fire. So on that you are receiving an insurance claim. Now tell me, on a recurring basis will you receive the insurance claim? The machinery whatever you have is destroyed. You are receiving an insurance claim. It will be for one time only. It will be for one time basis. Because of that reason, again this will be taken as what? Capital receipt. Done. Next. Illustration number 8 from your study material. Are the following expenditures capital in nature? Okay. Let's see. ABC and Co runs a restaurant. They renovate the some of the old cabins. Because of this renovation, some space was made free and number of cabins has increased from 10 to 13. The total expenditure was rupees 20,000 rupees. Now what has happened over here? They have incurred some expense on a renovation, because of which the space, the sitting space has increased from what? 10 to 13. That means I can earn more revenue in the future. Before I used to earn revenue for 10 seats only. Now there can be more people who can sit. Because of that, the space has increased. I can earn more revenue. It is giving me a long-term benefit. And secondly, this expenditure whatever I have incurred on renovation, will I incur it on a regular basis? Will I renovate the space on a regular basis? Again and again I will put renovation here, renovation there, renovation. Will I do that? No sir, it will be a single time expense. It will be a one time expense. Because of that, this is a non-recurring expense. So this will be a capital expenditure. Clear? It's giving me a long-term benefit. It is a non-recurring expense. Then next, New Delhi Finance Co. sold some certain goods on installment payment basis. 5 customers did not pay the installment. To recover such outstanding installments, the firm spent 10,000 on account of legal fees. Now, this is also called as maintenance expense. Why? Because see, today I incur 10,000 as a legal expense. They will put a case on those people to pay me the money. They will pay me the money. Done, understood? But I am always selling the goods on installment basis. Right? So tomorrow there might be some new customers who will not pay me. So will the lawyer work for me for this 10,000 rupees only the next time? He will again ask me the fees. That means it's a recurring expense. It is giving me a short-term benefit. Right? Till what date? Till the amount is recovered from the customers. So this will become what? This will become revenue expenditure. Clear? Okay, next. Messrs. Balav and Co. of Delhi purchased a machinery from Shah and Co. of Ahmedabad. Balav and Co. spent 40,000 for transportation of such machinery. So, transportation expenses is required to bring the asset to the factory. Because of that, this will be what? This will be added to the value of the inventory, value of the asset, and it will be capitalized. So, it will be called as capital expenditure. Clear? So I think we are done with all the questions. So there are some more questions remaining in the textbooks which are really good. So please go through them and have a look at the old past papers also, which is available in the ICAI portal. Okay. So on this chapter you might get hardly questions for 4 marks. For 4 marks minimum you will get the questions from this chapter. So please go through the chapter, because for 40, if you get 36, you will again fail. So because of that, 4 marks are really important. So please go through the chapter clearly. Clear? Okay. And if you have any doubts, please drop it in the Telegram channel. Done? Yes. Thank you.